WNST week with torrid temperatures. We await a football game that certainly nothing has been torrid about the way the Baltimore Ravens have played. Dennis Kolatzis joins us now. He will be on the airwaves here at WNST as well as on our website from 3 until 5 with the SSV on WNST. He joins us from Coons Ford Security Boulevard, where the football doesn't look any better on the west side of town than it does on the east side of town. Dennis, these are tough times, and I know you view the game through a sophisticated lens. They don't have very good football players right now, and that's really kind of at the heart of this. 20 injuries kind of takes its toll, and when you're seeing third-string wide receivers run around, don't expect Joe Flacco to throw for 420 on Thursday night, right?
Right. When you watch a game like the Raiders and the Chiefs or the Redskins and the Eagles, and you're watching good offensive football and good wide receivers, good offensive lines, good running backs, and you're watching some good offense and you see touchdown scores, it doesn't make you a bit jealous that we don't have anything like that in Baltimore right now. Ravens, 18 games under Marty Morningwig have scored 0 or 7 points only 45% of the time. You're not going to win many football games, Nestor, but not scoring touchdowns in the NFL in 2017. That's a fact.
Well, certainly this is going to come down on Harbaugh. It's going to come down on Flacco. And I don't know what people expect out of Joe Flacco at this point. It's below the bar. The whole offense is below the bar right now. I think he sees that. He knows that. But I don't know that he has anywhere to go with the football, Dennis. I mean, aside from these dumps off to Ben Watson, and really more than that, trying to get Campanaro, Moore, some of these other guys to be able to run with the football, that's probably the only opportunity they have, because these guys are backups because that's what they are in the National Football League.
Yeah, in the game against the Vikings, I believe he only had one long pass downfield. It was incomplete, of course, but the field has definitely shrunk for Joe Flacco. We know it's not his style of football. Joe is hyper-aggressive. He likes he likes chunk plays. He likes going for touchdowns, deep balls, etc. But as you mentioned, who does he throw to? Doesn't have guys that can get separation. Doesn't have guys that can catch the ball. And when Mike Wallace went out in the first quarter against the Vikings, I mean, that just ended any type of deep threat that they may have had. He tried to develop some rapport with Chris Moore as the game went along, hooked up with him for a late touchdown, but it's just bad offensive football, and they were able to make a game out of it for a half. It wasn't pretty, but they were only down by 3 points at the half, and I guess that's as good as you can expect. But the other problem is the flip side of the ball. The team's just letting up so many rushing yards, and even with the return of Brandon Williams, they weren't able to stop the Vikings' rushing attack, and that's got to be a big concern to the Ravens brass, particularly after investing all that money in this defense in the offseason.
Yeah, as much as the spotlight's going to be on Flacco and the offense and Marty Morningwig, and check. We'll go down the line on all that. It's not very good right now. We'll all agree with that. The defense is healthier. The defense is more stout. The defense was expected to do more, and I know the offense doesn't keep the defense off the field a whole lot and going out there and doing 8-minute drives, although in the first 2 weeks they managed to run the ball better. Of course, Marshall Yanda was around at that point for the offense, as were some of the other weapons, including Macklin and at least a healthy Perryman. But defensively, this has been disconcerting, the giving up the run. And the Dolphins want to run the ball on Thursday night. That's what they're going to do with Matt Moore. And whether the Ravens can stop it or not, we spent 6 months of the offseason talking about no one being able to run on the Ravens. Then there's the backside of the Brandon Williams injury and him coming back in. The defense needs to be the part that improves here the next 4 weeks, because I don't see the offense having a lot of improvement right now.
Yeah, this defense has got to be the one to keep them in the game, keep them relevant. They have to be able to hold serve at home, cannot afford to have a single loss at home going forward if they hope to make the playoffs, and they've got to be able to steal 1 or 2 games on the road, 9-7, 10-6, best case scenario for this team. But right now, they're certainly on the course to finish 8-8 for the year, or in that area, 7-9. But the defense has got to hold. You have guys out of position. Look, the defensive backs have been a bright spot, but again, why pass on the Ravens when you can run the ball on them at will? Really disappointing, and they've been handled. Their defensive line has been handled by the other teams' offensive lines. And look, the Vikings had half of their offensive line out. They had a backup quarterback in there. Their best wide receiver was out. So everybody's got injuries. I'm not sure how long this injury thing is going to be able to be used as an excuse by this team. I don't know how much Steve Bisciotti will buy it. I know he gave them a vote of confidence a couple of days ago, but that's to be expected. I didn't expect the owner to bash the team mid-season. That's not the time and point to do that. He has to let them play out the season, assess, and go from there. But Dean Pease, and of course, he's also making excuses. Look, we only give up 1 or 2 big plays a game, but Dean, buddy, you got to own that. You got to stop that if you have any hope of helping your team win some games going forward.
Well, I mean, the big problem is getting off the field, right? And really stopping the run and putting the other team where our offense has been, which is 2nd and 13, 3rd and 10. Those are not manageable down and distances. Certainly not for this kind of offense. And probably not for Case Keenum either, or for Matt Moore or any of the other sort of dreg quarterbacks, the Blake Bortles. No one likes to be in 2nd and 13. And as far as the defense goes, tackling has been the biggest issue for me. The missed tackles, obviously Weddle going for the strip last week in a position that just wasn't very smart football. It's not good when your smart football players aren't playing smart football.
Look, when your MVPs are your kicker and your punter, you've got some issues on both sides of the ball. I mean, right now this team is in disarray. They've got to get it together. A home loss against the Dolphins would be devastating. And if there's any hope of getting some of these guys healthy and getting them back to salvage the season, they've got to hold serve against Matt Moore and the Dolphins. I don't know if it's a good thing that they're not facing Jay Cutler or not. Who knows? But the Dolphins will certainly hand the ball to J.J. Many, many times against the Ravens front. And hopefully the 12th man shows up. Hopefully the fans are loud and can make a difference in that game and give our team at least a 3-point advantage.
We know one thing: the uniforms will be completely hideous, right? We can count on that, right?
I like those. Actually, I love the color rush uniforms. I hope the Ravens play up to the level where they can honor those uniforms.
Do you like them as a diversion, or do you really wish they ran around in their pajamas every week?
No, seriously. You know what? I like it as a change of pace.
Okay.
When the Rams opened up the season with their bright yellow, highlighter yellow uniforms, I thought that was a good look. And look, I like it different. I like the old black uniforms, and I wouldn't want to see these color rush uniforms more than once a season, but Thursday night game at home, let's have some fun, and maybe they can create some new mojo with these new uniforms.
Here's Dennis Galatzos. He's over at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. He'll be with you on Thursday from 3 until 5 doing the SSV on WNST. What's going on at Coons Ford right now, Dan?
Well, unlike the Ravens, we're not having an average season. We're having a great season. Season-end deals on 2017 models, clearing the decks. Got a bunch of F-150s and Mustangs I need to get rid of. Huge rebates on the hood. Ford Motor Company and Ford Motor Credit are certainly supporting us with great deals on these vehicles. I'm looking for trade-ins. No one will give anybody more money for a nice trade than we will. Don't give it away. Bring it here. We'll give you 125% of Kelley Blue Book, no questions asked, and that works well for us. We don't pay that money at the auction. We'd rather give it to our customers. So always have about 200 late model pre-owned vehicles in stock, and plus a full-service body shop, parts department, service department. We're a one-stop shop for everyone's automotive needs.
I have toured every inch of it several times. It is impressive over Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Of course, Dennis will be here from 3 until 5, the SSV doing it for you. And don't forget our tech service. I know you love the tech service, but you hate it when it's injuries. It always comes first. It's always brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dan, I want to stretch it out from the Ravens here because, they're going to play on Thursday. We got the whole weekend going on, Red Zone, whatever. What else are you watching here these days? I know you're a UFC guy. The NBA's back out. The NHL's back in. This is literally with the World Series this week. This is the busiest week of sports of the calendar year, bar none, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, as you mentioned, a lot of great stuff going on. Houston and Los Angeles locked up in the World Series, two big towns and two great stories there for sure. UFC still relevant. Got UFC 217 coming up. NBA. I mean, look, LeVar Ball, Lonzo Ball, the Lakers, back in the news. As you mentioned, lots of great stuff going on. And the NFL, of course, can't get away from the NFL. Still some compelling matchups up there. And college football, Alabama, Penn State. So for a sports fan, look, even Sunday night, I was watching Sunday Night Football, and I also had wrestling on the laptop. They had an event. So lots of great stuff to view as a sportsman. No shortage of storylines, lots of drama, lots of soap operas everywhere. Are
you one of those guys like me that has a billion Penn State fans once they start winning? It's amazing. When Joe Paterno and we're dealing with young children here and scandal. Yeah. We are invisible. But boy, when we're number 2 in the country, we are Penn State. I'm shocked at how many friends I have and know that were at that game over the weekend putting up selfies. It was awesome all over my timeline on Saturday when I was in Minnesota.
That's too funny. I've always been a big James Franklin fan way back when he was the assistant head coach at the University of Maryland. I thought he would be able to build something special up at Penn State, and he's doing so. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I hope that Penn State gets a chance to meet Alabama for the championship at the end of the season. Still lots of football to be played for sure, but this kid, Saquon Barkley, man, how good will he look in a Ravens uniform? And there's also a story out
well, you better be bad.
You got to be real bad.
You better be real bad.
Yeah, you got.
I don't think the Ravens are bad enough at this point to draft.
Yeah, they may want to reconsider. But
I think he'll look good in a Browns uniform.
But did you see the story that the Ravens were actually trying to trade for Adrian Peterson before he got traded to the Cardinals? That one, that's something that I missed.
I saw that there was interest. I have not kicked around much, and I've been around some of the executives last week or two, certainly. I don't know what the great hope is here for the offense, right? I mean, other than trying to get healthier, trying to get better, trying to coach up the guys they actually have, that 6 weeks from now, Marshall Yanda's not coming back. I don't think Perryman is going to be a contributor around here. I mean, he's got BUS in the first line of T at this point. Macklin, the notion that he was going to be an unhealthy player, that's kind of held up. And now we see Wallace get his head taken off the other day, although he seemed like he was doing better after the game. I saw him very, very briefly leaving Minnesota. Until they get wide receivers that can be better players, stretch the field more, get some more protection for Flacco, until they can run the ball a little bit, and there were some signs of life that they could run the ball. In weeks when they're going to run the ball well, I think they're going to have a chance to win. Yeah,
I just thought it was real interesting. I didn't see that one coming, but look, I'm glad that they're still looking to make moves to improve the team, even at this stage of the season, willing to give up some cap space and make some moves to accommodate a player of Adrian Peterson's caliber.
Well, certainly, Arizona made that happen, and we'll see how it goes for them. Great to have you on, as always. I know you're going to be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, getting it going. We got plenty of things for you to talk about, even if you are doing Ravens preseason or pregame, I should say, even though it feels like preseason at this point. A win would change a lot of things around here for 10 days. Make the Halloween candy a little fresher.
Well, I would hope they would win just so the value of my tickets would go back up again. Right now, I mean, I can't even get 50% of face value. It's real bad what's happened to the tickets for the Ravens, and I guarantee you it's also had adverse effect on the PSLs, which is another story, another subject we can talk about at some point.
Well, that happens anytime the team's not very good, right? I mean, when the team goes bad, and we sit here on the outside, we watch Cleveland and we watch the 49ers. And we watch Jacksonville and these franchises that have just been moribund for 10 years. We know what that feels like as Oriole fans around here. I really do wonder if there were a couple 6-10s and 4-12s that are coming down the pike here for whatever reason. How our city's going to react to that as a city that thinks of itself as a good football town.
Yeah, well, I hope we don't get a chance to see that. I hope things don't get that bad. And look, hopefully they can salvage the season and have a great draft to get some offensive firepower here next year, and we can reload, get some players back, and go from there.
Well, part of salvaging the season really begins on Thursday night. 3-5's unmanageable, Den. You know that.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Dennis Colossus, he is the SSV on WNST. You can find him out on Twitter as well as over Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, where they're sponsoring our WNST tech service. You know how good it is. If you're on it, if you're not, get on it. You'll find out how good it is. Dennis is here from 3 until 5, getting you ready on Thursday night for Ravens and Fish. And I hope it's a fish fry. We're going to be talking to a lot of folks from Miami, and all that's out in our audio vault as well as on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I'm Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.